intentions, what our Grand Sheik has been talking about for the last couple of months. If you are sincere, you have good intentions. And good thinking, we know sin is in the thought, right? Then you act upon them thoughts and you either do more and more things. Our Grand Sheik taught me this. He said, okay, you have a negative thought, it's a sin. -1 points, right? You not acting on it balances it out. You at 0. Then if you do a good deed or something opposite of that negative deed, now you at like +points. And also want to give you another thing. When you sin, Allah just gives you credit for the sin. All right, you sin, that's 1 sin. When you do good deeds, he might give you 10 points. He might give you 700 points. And a simple way to explain that is with the greeting of Assalamu alaikum. You say Assalamu alaikum, 10 points. You say Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi, 20 points. You say Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, 30 points. You see, it's still the same good deed, but based on how well you do that deed and how good it is, it's not, he'll give you more than 1 point for it. Just saying Assalamu alaikum, he's give you 10 points. So that show you that your good deeds, he give you extra credit for it. With your bad deeds, he only give you 1. You know, it's just that 1 bad deed. And that show you how merciful God is. So I just wanted to throw that in. That's how much he love you. That he give you bonus points for good deeds, and he only counts your bad deeds as 1 of 1s. So going back to intentions, I just wanted to have that in the conversation. Your intentions, as Grand Sheik has been talking about. You know what I'm saying? If you are sincere, your intentions are good, and that is a bonus in itself. So work on that. Work on having good intentions, and work on, if you don't mean it, don't say it. If it's not in your heart, don't just say it because that's what somebody want to hear. Don't just say it because, you know, that's going to help you get the job. Don't do that to yourself, because now your sincerity is lacking, and now everything that comes from that is going to be in some way, shape, or form corrupt. So just work on being as honest as you can be. A great example of that is we talked about maybe a couple weeks ago now, not for sure, with Brother Mike Jail, when he talked about, you know, justice ain't always in your favor. And that has a lot to do with integrity and sincerity. Are you only going to be just when, you know, the $20 come to you? Are you only going to be just when the whatever it works in your favor? But then when it's not in your favor, now you got excuses. Well, I ain't feel like it. Well, this happened. Now when justice ain't in your favor, or when people are trying to hold you accountable to justice, now you got every excuse in the book why you can't make it happen. And I want to say, for every excuse that you make about not being accountable or not living up or not being sincere, there is a person who's doing it with the same problems you have. And that's some of the stories that we have in the Holy Quran of Mecca. You get what I'm saying? Somebody, they lost their mother. You get what I'm saying? Jesus didn't have no father, so that ain't no excuse for anybody who's like, oh, my dad wasn't in my life. Jesus didn't have no dad. All right, Lot's wife betrayed him. Noah's wife betrayed him. Job was sick. You get what I'm saying? He was sick. So I'm saying, if you're sick, that's not an excuse for you not to do what you're supposed to do. If you're any of these things, even if, like, let's say you're overweight, you're like, oh, I can't make this run. Let's talk about that also in the Holy Quran of Mecca. It was a heavy set man. He said, oh, Prophet, I can't, Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon you, I can't go to war, I'm heavy. And Allah revealed a surah that said, even if you're light or if you're heavy, you get what I'm saying? If you skinny or if you fat, you got to go to this camp. You get what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to say is no excuse. Whether if you have a sickness, whether your family is not acting right, whether you're anything you think of, that story is in the Holy Quran of Mecca. Somebody already experienced it and that they made it through to the other side. And I believe that's why a lot of those stories are told to us, because he know those were going to be a common excuse. Oh, I ain't feel good, Allah. Oh, Allah, I was a little bigger than everybody else. I couldn't do that. Oh, Allah, So he gave you reason after reason and parable after parable. So I just come here today, be sincere. Especially when we come here, we was talking about it last week. We up in the ante, you know what I'm saying? Sheiks, officers, people who are doing these things, and you're gonna be held accountable. Treat it like it's the ark. You know what I'm saying? Treat it like, do you think Noah, when he was building the ark, was cutting corners? He knew that this was the ship that was gonna save him. You think he was not, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna saw this edge. Oh, I missed the spot. You know what I'm saying? He knows would you build the thing that's gonna save your life, right? Would you leave holes all in it? Would you not try to measure it correctly? Would you treat it any kind of way if it's the saving power? So one, that's what I'm saying, treat this thing with some respect. And then life. Life is lifing at all times, and that's why we have to have these principles to rely on. Because if we don't, life will overwhelm you, and life has that ability to overwhelm, to fry your, for lack of a better term, your senses, or to fry your circuits. So that's why you have something to ground and connect, meditation, your prayers, and these principles, because these principles aren't a part of life in that sense. They're not on the physical plane. These principles are on a different plane. So if you can connect to them, and those be the things that guide you through these tough parts, because if you stop with sincerity, if you stop when the life get to lifing, you get what I'm saying, then life is one. You get what I'm saying? That's what it's trying to get you to do. It's trying to get you to stop progressing. It's trying to get you to, and I don't mean stop as in being still, because we know it's times to be still and you don't need to be overactive. I just mean stopping as far as not continuing with the desired outcome. And that's why I gave that example about, what all the prophets do with I would suggest for, reading on Prophet Ayub or Job and everything. He was suffering so much, and he just kept praying and kept praying. And that's when Allah talks about that he's with the people, who are patient. And that patience Allah is talking about is continuing on the course until victory comes. And that's all we really, it's all we can do. You get what I'm saying? Because if you stop and you was working so hard, it's an old story that I read, and it was in Think and Grow Rich. I can't remember the guy's name. It was Dale Carnegie, or it was one of them. And he was talking about he was mining for gold. He was mining for gold. He had bought some land. He was mining for gold. He kept working, and he gave up, basically. And when he gave up, someone else bought the land. And right where he gave up, a little bit further, was the gold. And what he said, and he ended up becoming a very rich, wealthy man. I can't remember exactly who it was, but he said that taught him to never give up, because you never know, you know what I'm saying, when that breaking point, when that moment is, you break through it. So be constant, be diligent on the right things. And also, I think a big part of being constant and being diligent is belief in the hereafter. You got to know that this is only temporary. Pain is only temporary. You're not always hurt. Being tired is only temporary. You're not always tired. And just as those is only temporary, you also have to know that the good side of things is only temporary. Being happy is only temporary. Being full of energy is only temporary. And a great story about that also is in the Holy Quran of Mecca, is Joseph. When he talked about the dream, interpreting the 7 lean cows, the 7 fat cows, the 7 ears of corn that weren't withered, and the 7 ears of corn that was withered. So that also teaches you how to make it through these cycles. So when you have the times of abundance, it don't mean go spend all the money. It don't mean go spend all your energy. If you got a whole bunch of energy, don't use it. Store it, because it's gonna be times when you don't have energy. Be still in them moments. I got a lot of energy, and sometimes we go expend all the energy. Nah, store it up. You know what I'm saying? Meditate, do some breathing exercises, sit down, read. And then, as that he said, when you're gonna have these 7 years of good, then it's gonna be these periods of the drought. So we know that life happens in those cycles. So when you are in times of abundance, whether that's energy or finances or whatever it may be, that's the time to store it up and only use a little bit. That's what Joseph taught us. That way, so when it's in the times when you're not feeling as good, when you're not having as much energy, when you don't have as much finance, you can pick it or get some from what you stored up. So, take some of these stories and take some of these concepts and try to apply them as best as possible. Alhamdulillah, because that's what life is. It's a test. We got to learn how to live through these different cycles, as we see even with the seasons, with winter, summer, fall, spring. So, alhamdulillah, I just want to put that on the Moorish. Yeah, we're all going to be at times sick. We're all at times going to be tired. And I don't say this to diminish it or to say that, those things aren't happening. You get what I'm saying? But we can't allow those things that are happening in the world and in our body, because what in chapter 1 it says, man is not the body or the soul. He's spirit man. So what I'm talking about is tapping into the spirit man potential. Because if your body is hurting, but you're not your body, and if you're having emotional disturbances or mental disturbances, but you're not your soul either, that means you can move beyond both of them. You can move beyond your physical pain. You can move beyond your emotional or mental limits just like your physical limits. There's ways to move beyond that. And some people have tapped into those ways, and these are the stories I'm relating to. So I just want to put that out there, that I'm not saying these things to diminish the fact that you may not be feeling well, or that you may not have energy. Just trying to show you that it was people who did those things, and this is the stories, and this is the ways that they overcame these things. So hopefully that you can pull from them jewels. I'm not saying I done done all the things, but I too try to pull on some of their stuff. Like, oh, let me get some of that. You know what I'm saying? So we can overcome these things. So you're not your body. So that physical pain is in your body. It's not going to last forever. You're not your soul. That emotional damage, that mental fatigue, that any of that, that's not going to last forever. So let's work on overcoming those things, and let's not become, I don't like using the term, I don't want to use any term right there, but let's just not let those things become things that drive us. Don't let your pain drive you, physical, emotional, or mental. And you know what I'm saying? Don't let those things, because you're not your body, you're not your soul, and you can overcome those things. So that means you can overcome your physical pain, you can overcome your mental fatigue or emotional damage. All of these things are things that also, like the sister put in there, goes with chapter 1. You need a foe to fight. You got to fight against that pain. You can't give into it. Body pain, all that. You got to fight that. You know, I'm not my body. You got to remind yourself this is just temporary. You got to fight against your mental, whether it's fatigue or even if it's the lack of, one of the 5 foes of man is insufficiency of knowledge. You got to fight against that, and the emotional damage, or whatever the case may be. I'm just giving these examples. And like I said, I just want to reiterate, I'm not saying these things to diminish the problems that we go through as people, because I experience them as well. But we can't get into them. We can't let those become the driving forces or why we do things or why we don't do things. You get what I'm saying? I can't let my physical pain, my emotional pain, or my mental ignorance be the reason why I do or don't do things. I got to overcome that. And that's through spirit, man. You get what I'm saying? So tap into the spirit man side of yourself and tap out a little bit of your body. Tap out of your body. Tap out a little bit out of your own mental. And what I mean by that is don't lean on your own understanding. And that's why the understanding of what I'm trying to give you is this understanding of the prophets, Joseph, of Job, of Abraham, of peace and blessings be upon all of them, and Prophet Noble Drew Ali. So tap in more of the knowledge and what they told you, and tap out of your our own limitations, because we all have them. Also, happy holidays, more. I hope we take all of this, not personal. Like I said, not to diminish anything. Just to work on our integrity, work on our sincerity, and working on overcoming whatever our limits may be. You get what I'm saying? Whatever they may be, you got the power to move past them and, to champion them. What did the higher self say to his lower self at one time when they met? Where are you going? Say, they meet. You ask them, where is it trying to take you? So next time when these things is happening, ask yourself, hey, pain, where are you trying to take me? Hey, mental fatigue, where are you trying to take me? Hey, emotional damage, where are you trying to take me? And when you ask that question, ask yourself, is that where you want to go? Honestly, do I want to go where my pain is taking me? Do I want to go where my emotional damage is taking me? Do I want to go where my mental ignorance or fatigue or whatever? And when I say ignorance, that's just a lack of knowledge. Do I want to go where any of those things are taking me? And then make your decision.